It's the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast, your source for anything and everything indie horror. Here's your host, Otis B. Dreads. All right, it is 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Do you know where your indie horror is? I know. We got three of us here. Somebody's got to know. Oh, that's right. It is right here. The Indie Horror Junkie Podcast. And I forgot the links there. There they go. I knew I was going to forget something. Wow, this is a surprise. I didn't know Asylum Amy was going to be joining us until earlier. So it's a pleasure. How you guys doing this evening?
Good. Happy to be back and excited for the show. We have a great guest. So let's rock and roll, you guys.
Absolutely.
Before we get started, though, as you've seen, that little promo for the Indie Horror Junkie magazine. I know you guys are probably already fiending, geeking for the next issue. Well, you won't have to wait too terribly long. I mean, just past the holidays. Issue 7 is coming out January 13th. As I mentioned, issue, there's a lot of S's in there. Issue 6 is live right now at the indiehorrorjunkie.com. You'll see the links pass by underneath. And a great cover we have there's
Diana Durango.
It's a killer cover. I still can't get over just how beautiful and artistic it is, and I'm obsessed with it. Everybody's got to be. Look at it.
No, it is awesome. So if you want to, as it says, get witchy, we'll get issue 6. That's all you got to do. Get
Absolutely.
issue. And man, we got some big news. Indie Horror Junkies first ever film festival, the Indie Horror Junkie Film Fest, is coming to MegaCon in Orlando, February 2nd through the 4th.
Look at that.
Wow. I love that poster, by the way.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. For some reason, it reminds me, because I'm a heavy metal guy, it reminds me of Nick Rattlehead, the Megadeth.
Nice.
It kind of has that look to it to me every time I see it. But submissions, if you have a short, a feature submission, that whole process open live right now. You only have to go to one place, bam, right there, and submit your short, submit your feature. Early bird submissions ends at the end of the month, so you want to get them in quite quick. And boy, this is going to be such a fun festival. 3 days of indie horror shorts and features. We're gonna have panels, filmmaker Q&As, horror trivia. We're gonna test the old horror knowledge those 3 days. That's gonna be fun. And hey, I think one of the best parts is you get to come out and meet some of us nutty junkies out there. I'm going to be out there. Of course, Rick, you're going to be there. Of course, Amy's going to be there. I'm sure Brenna, all of the usual junkies, I'll say, are going to be there. So it's going to be fun.
Like I was telling you earlier, I can't wait to get the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast family photo. Got to get that for sure. We never know when we'll all get together again, so it'll be a lot of fun.
We'll do it every year, you guys. Come on.
Absolutely. And that MegaCon, they get over 100,000 people there that weekend. And our theater is going to be on the main floor, right in the middle of all the madness. So it's going to be something else. We're going to get a lot of traffic, but I'm really excited for some of the films we've already gotten submitted. And that between now and the reason the early bird submission process is so short is because MegaCon's actually in February. So we're just a couple months away. So we had to, do a lot of moving and shaking to get things up and running so we can get these submissions in there and fill that place up, because we've got 3 full days of horror films to program, so we're on it.
And the submissions are filling up, so don't wait to the last minute. We've only been up and running for less than 48 hours. The links have been live and they've been coming in. So
left and right.
it's gonna be
it's gonna be such a great time. It's the first time that I've been involved with a film festival, so I'm super excited to go meet some of the fellow junkies down there in the Orlando, Tampa Bay area. I think Mr. Terry Gerald is going to be there.
I would hope so.
Yeah. I talked to him earlier, and I told him I was going to be out there, and we're going to try and meet up with each other. So just all in all, it's going to be a great time. So mark it on your calendar. If you're in that area, there's no excuse. If you're out of that area, out of state, make plans. I am. Come on. If I can do it, anybody can do it. We got Molly Zombie has joined us. Doug, welcome. You did make it. Give me a Give me a heads up if I sound okay. I'm not going to be happy until I find out in the chat how the audio is. But we got a great show, and again, as always, please observe all of the links down there at the bottom. The Buzzsprout links, so you can feed, help support our habit, and as well as all the the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Thank you, Doug. And Jamie is here. Welcome, Jamie. So yeah, you got a lot of digging around to do if you're not hip on us junkies. So get busy. We got a good one tonight, man. When preparing for the show, I'm like, okay, well, let's see our guest, Loren W. I hope I pronounced this right. Lepre.
You got it right.
I got it right. Okay. I forgot to ask him real quick before we dropped him in the green room, but I think I got it right. All right. Usually, you're like actor, director, or director, producer. This guy's like actor, pro wrestler, MMA, this, that, it's like,
Loren's a hustler. He gets in and he gets it done. That's one thing I can say about him. He goes hard. He knows what he wants and he works for it.
And one of the things that he was just in here recently, the Dark Military. Every time I sit down to watch something, because I started watching this is the second time now. I'm always getting interrupted. I'm in the house by myself with my dog, and I always get interrupted. I got most of it down, and I really dug it. So let's all take a gander at what this here Dark Military is all about. Then we're going to have Mr. Loren Lepre on with us. Check it out.
This man's going to die.
Get out of here!
You guys are hunting us for real.
And here we are. Welcome, Barnabas.
Hey. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no worries. Thank you for being on, man. You're a man of many trades, a jack of a lot of trades there. But first, Yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about that trailer we just watched, man? That's a pretty interesting. I like the concept. I like how they, in that trailer, it's like Friday 13th meets Devil's Rejects meets this meets that, and I could see it all, really.
Well, thank you. When I was putting it together, that was kind of my vision, and including 24 of that whole, the cops are, the officials are trying to figure out in a short period of time. Like I was watching 24 at the time. I was like, I want this to go. But at the same time, you're on low budget. I did have 2 red cams for this, so I got a lot of coverage the way I envisioned. But I always tell everyone, for the first time filmmakers, always build your script around the network you have. So everything you saw in that film where people have access to, like I can't tell you like I need to go shut New York City down or street blocks or some in Philadelphia or Chicago. Like that was not within my reach. So right. I wrote my first film around that, and it was set up for a trilogy. Technically, it still is. I know, like I just had Dark Military was released in 2019. Dark Military Rogue was released last month. Rogue is not part 2. It literally says, when you watch it, mission 1.5. I'm kind of like, I came up with a concept of, this is a side film. If Star Wars could do it, so could I. So It was a side story, and I actually have about 3 or 4 more, like ready to go. It's really an endless story because there's going to be so many characters, and even in Rogue, you meet another one. It's just like so what I'm doing, my lead into the second film, this was the kind of restart the spark of what was 2019. I mean, no one in the independent film genre, really, come on, guys, 2019, that might as well be 20 years ago. I had to do something. I just didn't want to be like, oh, hey, we're back. I want to do something to get the crowd up. For anyone who needs to watch that, you go right here on YouTube. You can just put in the Dark Military Rogue, watch it for free. Yes, free, so you have no excuses. And there's a reason there's a scissor reel up front. Not that I'm giving much spoilers away, but there's a scissor reel of the first movie to update you / hopefully you want to go back and check the first film.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we have so much to get to because, as I mentioned, your resume is quite large and broad.
Yeah, and
I grew up as when I was a kid, I loved wrestling. So I got to know about this wrestling. I want to know about the character. Does your character have a backstory? I mean, I got to know.
So if you could really, the same page on YouTube where you can watch the Dark Military Rogue, I have a page for some of my wrestling era. So I was more of a wrestling manager. Okay. So, but I did wrestle, and listen to this. I'm a wrestling manager. That's the part of wrestling where the manager gets in the ring because he's constantly interfering, and the wrestler, the good guy wrestler, beats the crap out of him. Like he's not supposed to get any offense, and the crowd's supposed to go finally loving this. I've never lost a match. The promoters were like, "No, you win the match. Like get knocked around, but we're gonna." Take the crowd off even more. So my shoulders have never been pinned at a mat. But then again, I didn't wrestle that much. I was more involved in the promotional side, and I was manager. I was also a guy, like a lot of indies do battle royals, and I have a very good gas tank. So I'd be one of the first guys in and like one of the last guys thrown over the top rope because like I could go all day when a lot of the other wrestlers like, I don't want to be in here. Just get me out. They throw me out like, all right, yeah. So I loved that. It was a lot of fun. That part, the battle royals were a lot of fun. Where a lot of wrestling veterans would be like, "You like the battle royals?" So I'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I like something,"
And then when did you transition to the whole acting? Because once that happened, it seems like project after project after project started coming.
Yeah. All right. So it's crazy. I'll actually could go back to when I was born. My mom went to labor and I was out under an hour. Like I have things to do. Okay. Like that's how aggressive I am. Like, I don't play around. So I was always like when I by the time I was a kid, what kid didn't have a lot of energy and was running around? But I was the second I got out of school, as much as daylight gave me, I was out. Like I'd bolt home, change my clothes, and Mom, like I'm going to the backyard. Mom, I'll be in the street playing wiffle ball. I wanted to get the most out of every day. And I used to always watch movies and say, like, I relate to this. Like when I get older, I want to be like this character. We all do that. I'm not telling anything new, but I really never forgot that. Like saw Point Break. I wanted to play football on the beach at night with all the cars and the headlights. I was like, I did that. I was like, it was like older. It's like I made all this. So from the time I was born, I said I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to be a professional wrestler somehow in the business, or I'm going to play for the Philadelphia Phillies. Update: I never played for the Philadelphia Phillies. It didn't work out. I'm not good at baseball, for the record, but wrestling was just something I felt I belonged. I had no ounce of scare when I came through the curtain of being nervous. I felt like, damn, like it just took me long enough. I should have got here even faster. Right. But what happened was my story into the business of that was ECW is through ECW. So ECW, based out of Philly, I lived out about 20 minutes past Scranton, really up in the hills there. ECW came to Scranton, and I showed up about 3-4 hours early, and I was sneaking in the back door like I belong there. And I would just pick tubs up and start walking around, and they caught me quick. They're like, "Kid, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I want to help." They're like, "Get outside." Like they were throwing me out. So basically I was like, I was always there, and I would make jokes. Like they'd open the door, like, "Sure you don't need any help with anything?" Like it wasn't just me. There was probably about 10 other kids doing that. So finally they had like, chairs need to be moved. Get that crazy kid in here for a second. Let him help out with chairs and shove them back out. But I was like a affectionate cat at the back door that you fed on your back porch. You fed it once. You could kick it in the face 100 times. It's not
keep
going
coming
away.
back. Yeah,
So
keep coming back.
So eventually I started like going to, I've been to every Living Dangerously, and I ended up at November to Remember, the one when Shane Douglas got the title back from Bam Bam Bigelow. There was a bus trip which I signed up for, and it turned out the driver was actually one of the promoters, and I didn't know that. So I talked his ear off, and I was like, dude. And then I started asking where I could help, and I started doing sucker work. So what sucker work? Like going to colleges, climbing the fence, and putting flyers on cars, because it's the 90s. There's no internet. This is how you reached like your audience. Yeah. I was calling all the college radio stations. I call it doing sucker work for free. They were taking advantage of a fan, and that's what I was, but I did it. And they eventually said, "Yo, dude, you're getting good at this. You want to come down to Philly?" And I was like, "Yeah." and I came down here, and like I said, when I get out of school and stuff, I was running around like I wanted to get the best every day. I also want to be at every concert. I also want to date a lot. I'm in Philly now. Like there's so much going on. Like
I want a cheesesteak right now.
Yeah. And then there's this like, oh, I want to do MMA too. Look at the schools are over there. Yeah, look at that dude. He's crazy. I want to learn from him. But so it was a amazing time. And how I kind of broke into what I never fought an actual MMA professional fight. I never left it. I never left like the amateur smoker area. And the problem with that was, yeah, I really wanted to do it. The problem is like, it's Monday, go to class. Cool. Train hard. Tuesday, I get a call before class. Guys, we're going to go off get some wings. I'll train on Wednesday. I'm going out for wings. Yeah. Wednesday, a girl calls. I'll go hang out with her. And it was before you know it, like, your training is dialing back in those sharks, because we're talking about the early 2000s, like that you see in UFC now, like they're starting to arise. And then I started questioning, like, I don't think I belong there. Like, I just don't. I just think the business passed me by. So as much as I didn't fight in MMA for a professional fight, I have been around martial arts since the 90s, even before ECW, and still am. I looked at it like a baseball game. You didn't fully make it in wrestling, strike one. You didn't in two. And one day, when it came for me to get into film, I said, you're hitting it. There is no strike three. You have to go, I'll go down. So that's where I basically saw a flyer for extras on South Street in Philadelphia, and I called the number, and I went and I worked for free. And they had a keg of beer and a bunch of makeup artists putting zombie makeup on. That was October 24th of 2010, and I watched one take, and I was like, I'm done. This is I got chills. It was like the dumbest thing. It was just like, all right, action. You know, all walk forward, be zombies. All right, reset. Do it again. All right, now this angle. Do it again. And they're like, all right, you're wrapped. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. So it got me, and my boy, like, I sat myself down in my head and said, dude, you struck out twice. You got to go hard. You need to be louder than everybody. And one thing about when I was going through the first 2 eras of my life was between all the concert halls and literally constantly being out every day. Like, my regiment was always like work out, go out. That was just repeat. Like you don't know when I never want to be on my deathbed saying I missed out on anything. So yeah. I said, you're going to focus on that. So, you know, you go to your acting schools, you start looking on Craigslist. I didn't know where to go. Some of those projects were actually okay. Some of them were a living nightmare. I could tell you I've been in literally 100 films. 60% of them you can't find anywhere. They either didn't get finished, or, you know, maybe they didn't, you know, the company went under. Like, it's crazy, but that's still, regardless, a lot of experience. And I really wish out of the gate I didn't spend so much time being local, because a lot of my local indie people was like, I call it like the crab effect. You put a bunch of crabs in a box and one's about to get out and they pull them back down. They're just like, don't do that. You know, we know what we're doing. And, you know, right. Every one of them, we know what we're doing. Like 90% of them are gone, and I excelled. So, but I also knew being out, that's where I got access to start running network events. That's where I started running my own film festivals. Well, so kudos to you guys starting yours. Welcome to hell, by the way. But I ran 26 of those. I ran 19 of them. One was called Freedom Shorts, which meant it could be horror, comedy, anime, anything I wanted. That was kind of like my anything goes. And then I ran Liberty Massacre. I ran 6 of those, clearly. Isn't that a great name? Liberty Massacre, Philadelphia Liberty Massacre. You'll get it. But
I ran too,
yeah. But I ran that, and that all ended in 2019. I didn't say like it was my final show. I don't say I'm done with it. I don't want to say like farewell, because I can't tell you I won't bring it back. But it was kind of holding me back from doing a lot of other things. I should have had more films out by now. I should have been in more people's movies, but that's a lot. And I know you probably have a team here doing it. I don't know how to delegate authority. So I'm the guy talking to all 40 filmmakers, and I'm the one sending the copy and paste frequent asked questions. And I'm like, you read this, right? Yes. And then 2 weeks later, start asking questions that were already answered. And I got to stay patient and be like, yeah, I kind of answered that right here. But anyway, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can't wait to see you and all that. So everything I did on striking out in the first 2 prepped me. I couldn't believe around here how many people they were hung up. They're like, oh, I want to do a film, but I need access to this, this, and this. And I'm like, not stopping you? I'm like, I think, like, not to brag, I think I could pull that off in 2 hours, but a few phone calls. So I started realizing, like, wow, everything I did beforehand was just like an unofficial foundation building. I just didn't realize at the time that I'm connected to a lot of things. And that was kind of like my story. And then, 26 film festivals, the PA hardcore, to, the dark military, the little bit I did with Terrifier and stuff. Like, it just leads your role. And I would do every podcast I could, no matter how big, how small. And it's like, I loved looking at your website, because you guys are all hungry. You have a giant team. I think that's great what you're doing. I think if you keep playing your cards right, I think you're going to plateau, man. It's going to be good,
Yeah. Amy, do you or Rotting Ricky D have anything? Because I got more questions.
Yeah, I want to hear more about Dark Military Row. You guys shot it just a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. Tell us how you formed your team, how you found, your location, how many days it took you to shoot. Just tell us about that whole experience. Because it is a short film teaser. It's a kind of in between, one story into the other. So just share with us that, because people are going to want to watch that after they watch this podcast. We're going to throw your links up in the comments. So just give us a little more insight on your latest project.
You got it on that one. So last year I wanted to make a move, and I was like, I thought about doing Rogue last year, and I started adding up, writing the story. And before I know it, I'm like looking at how many days it was going to take. And I was like, I went overboard. I was like, I have 30 characters, and I'm like, this is getting out of hand. I'm like, and I started realizing how much money this was going to cost. And I'm like, scrap this, just do the feature, So, one thing led to another, and the feature just wasn't ready to go yet. And it really, I'll just tell you, it came down to money. That's how it always is. So then I thought about, all right, well, this year, am I going to have enough money to do the sequel? Like early out of that, I was talking to myself. I'm like, no. So I was like, all right, why don't I revisit that script? Let's dial back how many are in, and what's a good story I could come up with. And that's where I came up with Rogue. And a lot of people have that thing where this is my cinematographer, these are my actors, and everything else has to move around that. That is not how I build a film. I build on the days I know I could get off of work, and it's location first, because I have an endless list of DPs and actors and sound people, and I just go through the list. Here are the days, here's the pay, are you in or out? And that's how I do my films, and I will continue to do my films that way. I don't stop the world for anything, because some people are like, I'm not available that week, I'm 2 weeks after. Like, stop it. I'm not moving my world for you. So I assembled this. I needed land because I could not reuse the land I just shot the first film on, and that was difficult. Nothing to do with me, but someone did something with something, and we'll just leave it with that. And I can't go back to that land. But and that's where my producer Doug came in. Good friends of all you, but Doug came in and was like, "Yo, let's do something." And I explained to him about the land. I mean, he asked a few questions, and I was like, "Oh, dude, if you could find something, that'd be great. We'll speed this thing up." And within an hour, he had like three different spots. Here comes all the pictures, and I'm like,
"Sounds like Doug."
Yeah, I'm like, damn, this dude's a juggernaut. And I like that, because it takes pressure off me, and that's who I want to be aligned with. I don't like people who you give if you give the keys to the car for someone to go do something, and I see you checked in at places on social media and you're just not aggressive, I'm yanking the keys and I'll drive the car myself, no matter how much less sleep I'm going to get. And Doug came right through, like, so fast. And then everything, like, well, I always like feeding everyone good. Few calls, he took care of that. So it was great. So as soon as I got the land, I got the date, and then I started building. And I went right to the DP I wanted the most, Wesley Moud, who this shot stalked. He had his red dragon and everything, and I assembled the team. And then you got your cast. I always say when I write something, I always have like this role. Here's my top 4, and just go down the ones you want. And that's the cast I ended up getting. And everybody, I'm very big on casting of who's going to gel off camera, because film is a lot of downtime, and sometimes conversations and personalities could clash off camera, and then they come back on the set, and now there's tension. I didn't like that. So I am 2 for 2 with that. The first Dark Military had like 70 people in it, basically for a while. But I got through with that, and there was no problems. Well, I might have later on, I may have heard of a few, but during the set anyway, everything was cool. And this was actually a gigantic dial back, only having five actors or 6 actors. I'm sorry, because I'm one of them.
It worked, and you incorporated some really cool practical special effects, which I personally love to see in horror. The wife with her, not to give too much away, but that whole slit right here and how I was like, yes, you guys nailed it with the practical.
And the first film was shot straight 8 days, basically. And then a year after we edited, I decided to add a few more scenes of like the phone callers and stuff. But like one of the things cool about the first Dark Military in 2019 was, God, I got that done. wow, that really happened. But everybody knows on a film set, practical effects slow a film down, and I couldn't do all the kills that I wanted. There's 26 deaths in the first Dark Military, but some, a lot of those are off camera or quick neck breaks at certain times. There's some of them that we went in on, but I kept saying that was one of the critiques I get from the people that will watch my films, and you can't dismiss that. It's a horror movie. People want to see it, so I said, Rogue, they're gonna see it. So Rogue, we buffed that up. My good friend Christina Puff Effects, she came from Tom Savini's school. She brought her right in and told her what I wanted, and that was it. I'm very big on when I hired the team, DP and all. It's just like once I hire you, I exhale and just let you do your thing. I'm not really about like writing people. There's a reason I'm paying you. There's a reason I trust you. I am more about getting the story down and the performance. That's me as the director. And to top it all off, I play the role of Barabbas, and I gotta worry about my performance too. But I also got to worry about getting the performance I want out of everybody else. So it was a great time. It was one of those like rejuvenating weekends because it was a while since I did a film, and like it felt good to put the war grease on and everything, and bring that character back because I really miss Barabbas, and
What, you guys film it over 3 days?
2 days. That was it.
Wow, okay.
I could have probably did that all in one day if it wasn't for the effects, slowing everything down.
Totally worth it though. She did a really good job.
Yeah, it was. It was a great location. It was full of animals. Same thing with the first film. Where I am, and there seems to be like kittens. In this round, there's like a lot of chickens. There was a lot of chickens and stuff. But it was it's a good time. It's one of them when you're driving home, you have a giant smile on your face. Minus any filmmaker knows, until you see it play back all on the hard drive, you're not really exhaled. You got to go watch everything to make sure there's no file corrupt, because that is the ultimate fear of all filmmakers, of there's a corrupt file.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
what do you being a multifaceted individual as you are, as far as being in front of the camera, being behind the camera, what is your favorite? Because I know there's going to be, it's so, gratifying to write a script, to write a story, and then direct other people to do it, and then see that once glimmer of a thought in your head come to life. I understand. What is, what's more gratifying to you? What do you like doing more, in front of the camera or both, like you did in the Dark Military?
I will tell you, just because I'm not, it's one of the things from how well known I am, nobody calls me to be in their film, and it bothers the crap out of me. That's all I really wanted, was to be an actor. I wouldn't have to be dumping my own money into this and taking the risk and all that. So this was me locally saying, like, I had two things. One, I wanted to make my own. Like, who doesn't want to make their own film? It's like, you're going to do it or not. So, I put the pieces together, and I did make the first Dark Military, but I just wanted to act like I do. I just wanted acts first, because I'd rather be in your guys' film. Like, give me the script, tell me what to do, and I'll deliver it. And I'll be doing what I always do. But like, I'll be calling you like during the week and be like, this part, like, I'm gonna read this to you. Is this how you're picturing it? Like, because I have a nightmare thing about being the guy that's slowing the movie set down. I've seen it happen, and I'm like, never. I want to be the guy that's like, he comes in and knocks. So I never want to be really directed, like critiqued a little bit. Like, I never want to be worried about being like, that's not the action beat we wanted, and I'm over here rehearsing that at home for like 2 or 3 weeks. I want to like show you the tone I'm going to be at. So basically, you're getting an actor that cares. I'm not Crispin Glover crazy, but I'm into it. So I prefer to act first, but you can't say when it's all said and done that, wow, I built that. Like when I'm gone, like, this is my part of history, where
part of your legacy.
Yeah. That hopefully no one be forgotten about. But there's that. But I mean, folks, for any of you out there that are going to take on a film and you're going to dump some money into it, if you're the one eating the bills, please, I'm always honest up front. Guys, this first Dark Military bills followed me for like 4 years, and like it was going back to living like a college kid. Like You know, like you're looking at foods you wish you could have. You're like, I can't. That's like, you know, that's a whole week of ramen right there, dude. You can't have that. But you have to suffer for your craft. But you just kind of hope. You know, all I want is respect, and I'm hoping for all filmmakers listening out there that I just want to be in your films. And also, Barabbas isn't owned by anybody but me. So if you actually want my character Barabbas to cross over into your world, he's available.
Barabbas is up for hire.
Yes,
There
he
you
is.
go.
Here.
Yeah.
I like it. Tell us a little bit about what it was like working with Terrifier people.
So by the way, I would have never gotten near Terrifier if I didn't have PA Hardcore and the Dark Military like behind my belt. So again, guys, it's like, you know, sticking a flag in the ground and showing who you are, because so many people, it still happens. People come to Damien every 2 seconds, but they also come to me. There's like, how could I be in Terrifier 3? I've always wanted to be in a movie. I'll work for free. And if you're a girl, they're like, I'll get completely naked for free. And it's like, okay, great. But I also say, like, if you saw my part in Terrifier 2, it's not exactly overwhelming. So, like, I want to be in Terrifier 3. So I'm not going to bat for you. Like, go chase Damien if that's what you want. So, but basically between that and I was a co-host of my friend Adam Bierman, who appeared in the Dark Military. He had a show live from Princeton College, and I ended up being his co-host in time. And I was bringing in, well, I'll just say Adam knows, way better guests than he had, can't get a hold of. And when Terrifier, the first one hit, I got a hold of David Howard Thornton and brought him in there. And then, then I got him and Damien back maybe 6 months later. And, you know, we all went out to dinner and all that. And I'm like, Damien, I was like, all right, you're going to get a rerun question. I was just like, I would love to be in your film. But also, folks, this is like the rule now of this film. This is the rule of life. Never just approach someone and say, I want you to do something for me. You should say, what could I do for you? And that's what I told Damien. I said, dude, I'm like a location specialist. Do you need something? He's like, yeah, I need a lot of locations. So he needed a place for the final fight between Sienna and Art. He needed an actual haunted house attraction. So all of Terrifier 2 is shot in New York and like North Jersey area. But the final scene, thanks to this guy, is in Philadelphia at the Fright Factory. So that whole part with, you know, what happens to that guy's wiener and all that, that's an actual fair somewhere in North Jersey. And when they say go into the Terrifier, that's all Philadelphia. So the final fight, you know, Art checks out, well, for like a minute or two, whatever it was. But Art the Clown died in Philly. And actually, like, Art the Clown was here written in poop on the bathroom. That's still there at the Fright Factory. They're never taking that down. So Frank is the great guy that, you know, who owns that place. So if you're in Philadelphia, go check it out. And for anyone who knows what ECW Arena was, it's right next door to the right. It's like the old Foreman Mills linen outlets. Like that's where it is. So it's actually still open now, except they changed it to a Christmas horror movie theme sort of thing. But they're open at Christmas. But that's like my stamp on the film. I was there like 17 days of like the 70 days they shot. So I knew up front this was like Halloween 2 and Friday the 13th Part 2 back in the day. I was telling them all up front, I'm like, guys, this is part of it. Like, I was just happy being on the set, you know, after my DJ thing was done, which was shot at QXT's in North Jersey. Because I played a DJ for like a split second and a half in that opening scene. So next time you're watching Terrifier 2, that's this guy's pretty face you're looking at. So
Isn't that the best though when you're on set and you don't want to leave?
Yeah.
Is there
you don't
everybody
wanna,
focused on the same thing? You just feel it. There's nothing like it.
and I'm working like my real world job. I have to get up at 6 a.m. So it was like, I'm out at home right to the shower and like I'm bolting to the set. And then like you're trying to stay up and saying, I'm going to go all night. But like usually around midnight, I'd get out because they were really filming a lot. Like they'd arrive at 3 and they would, I don't know why they were doing like these late shoots. I didn't understand that one because the place was shut down. It's dark at all times. I didn't get what that's what they wanted to do. I guess they wanted to kind of sleep and they can do what they want. The Levy brothers and Damien, all that. That's what they wanted. So, but I had so many behind the scenes footage, and I was there for how art checks out. Like I knew the ending. I'm just like, I got pictures. I'm just like, wow. I was like, you want to talk about a spoiler in this phone, but I never said anything, never said anything, but I was glad to be a part of that. So, but guys, the only reason I'm there, got to do that was through reputation. So people want to see your work. Yep. And you better prove it. That's why everything's logged at my website. And even like this broadcast, probably within an hour, I'll link this video here to my podcast where you could get all the hits, but it'll be hosted there because I always try to put all my interviews up because I always have that thing on my website. There's literally 50 pages. I'm not kidding. There's 50 pages, but I don't like when someone says to me like, oh, this is my website. Check me out. But it hasn't been updated in 2 years. Well, you're showing me you're not hungry right there. You've already told me like, you're not serious about this. Where like I am constantly like I said, within an hour, that's how quick I'm going to be aggressive with this. So.
Yeah, something that you had mentioned just a few minutes ago about taking and if you want to be, you don't just come and say, hey, I want to be in your stuff. I want to do this. I kind of did. I kind of approached a couple of directors that I got a little voiceover gigs with, and I'm like, man, I would love to help out on. I even told LC Holt, I was like, man, I will go grab coffee for you. I mean, I will take the trash out. I just wanted to be, on set. And out of that conversation, me basically just asking, where are you guys filming at? Because if it was anywhere close, bet your sweet ass I was going to try and make it down there because I've just always loved just, watching the behind the film or behind the scenes stuff and how they make movies and how they do the special effects. And I'm still that big kid, now it's just now I could, possibly be a part. And that's how I got a voiceover gig with him. He was like, no, we're filming here, but I may have a part for you. And I think that, seeing how passionate I was to want to be involved somehow kind of maybe was the incendiary to take and give me something.
Well, you just said the right way, though. You're not being like someone who's just like me first. You said, I like to help you. Right. You said the right words. You said like, hey, bring me in. I'll do it. I'll the coffee or anything else you did. But I did that for the first film I was ever involved with was called Crossbear. It's like a lot of the guys that came from Trauma. I don't even think you could find that movie anywhere. It's a shame because I thought it's probably a little dated because it was 2010, but that's where I cut my teeth right. I got them sharpened because that's where, I'm helping the gaffer and Loren stand there, and I'm staring back and I'm like, are you done? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I didn't understand lighting, but this is how you got to learn, right. It's like, why am I standing here? Like, why do you need, like, what shouldn't I be over there, like with you looking at like what you're doing? But you're also, but film is a lot of downtime. So that's where you pick your spots of like, can you show me what you're doing over there? Cause I just don't understand. And then they were like, oh, okay, I got it now. Like, all right. Or you think you got it, but it's really important. I always tell people to volunteer for a movie set. I like to say volunteer for a real movie set because I did that the next two films where it was just a guy with a camera and I was explaining the last film where it was like all this lighting and audio. And that was like a big Philly thing. You don't need that. And then like that film never came out because it was like practically a dark film. Like you're shooting people in the dark from far away. And I know you can't see the actor. Like you probably gave up in post, but there's always those filmmakers that think they're going to change the film industry with very little equipment. And it's rough to know where to be and not be up front. Guys, it's a process of elimination. It's, you just got to go swimming and you're going to lose some fights,
Yeah, well, so would you suggest any young filmmakers or actors just to dive in feet first and go approach a director who's got a project that's, you know, up and going or getting started, and approach them like, hey, I have this talent that you know, I'd love to help you out on whatever. I just actually sent a message today to somebody. And actually, over there at Cosmic Wave Films, they were a guest over here, and they're putting together a short. I'm like, hey, if I can help you in any way, let me know. You know, I'll do voiceovers, I'll do this, I'll do that, and you know, I make myself, you know, available. Would you say that's more like, because it seems like that's more your style? I mean, you're a bull, you know.
Well, like I said, that movie Crossbearer, like I when I contact, they actually put a post out saying we need PAs, and I wrote back, I'll be glad to be your PA, but you got to know up front, I don't know nothing. Like I am a total virgin walking in, and they're like, so everywhere I was assigned, they're like, hi, this is Loren. He's brand new and knows nothing, but you know, moving everything around in the background, you know, running the cable lines and all that, like. You know, little by little towards the end, I start to understand more. I'm not telling you in 30 days, I was like, I graduated anything, but
Right.
I highly suggest that. And I suggest for anybody that might want to just pick the camera up, do what I did with the first Dark Military, write around what you know. Is your father a cop? You know, like, maybe you could get access to the police station, like you know, or, you know, you got that. Hey, is your dad a doctor? Maybe you could get access to the doctor's office after work. But don't start writing the script of all scripts where you need Steven Spielberg money, because it's never going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's very good. Yeah,
and I would tell you also, don't not write that script that you need Steven Spielberg money. Have it. It's just not the first film you're going to do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I mean that's great advice. I mean, I never really, you know, because I don't write scripts or direct movies, but I mean, it's a great way to think about it. You know, what do I have at my disposal? What's cost effective? What's not going to cost me anything to take and use? You know, oh, my family has this, or you know, on their property, and utilize those things that you don't have to go out and scout locations and things like that, because you already probably have 90% of what you need. You know, you get a handful of your friends. I believe that's something similar of how Night of the Living Dead came about. You know, it's just
a lot of films came together like that. And does your area have a film school where the film students have access to all the equipment that you need, that, you know, you can work something out with the school where they get credits? Well, now you got the top equipment. Because for a while, all my short films up front, I can tell you right now, between my film festivals, because all those film students were coming to me, I was making calls and making buddies with people like, yo, dude, I need equipment. Like, there was literally times I was making short films and not costing me a dime outside of feeding them, you know, up front. I mean, that's how it is now. I don't have that film festival going on right now. So when it comes to although I don't know any of the new generation, they all graduated and stuff, but you also have amateur filmmakers. But I mean, you know, you want people with credibility as you move on. You don't want to just live off that, you know. So yeah, but like, even if I don't do the second Dark Military around May, because it's kind of where I'm looking to roll into this, I have another film, as what I just told you, where I have locations at my disposal where it's just another small cast, but I can make a feature out of this. And a lot of it's actually going to be shot in like daylight, like I don't want. So, you know, there's ways of slimming down. And I literally wrote this again at my disposal. And I'm also looking at the way to cut costs. I'm more worried about paying the actors and the crew upright and making sure they're fed well. And, you know, this is going to be like another like 7 days, like 7-8 days. We're going right through. I'm very scared about. I'm paranoid. I'm one of those people, like, I don't like, we're shooting like 7 or 8 straight weekends, because a life issue could happen to any of your cast members, or something could happen, crap talk during the week, where it's like, everyone's like, I'm not coming back. And now you're like, what do you mean you're not coming back? What happened? And you're contacting that actor. Like, yeah, I've never had to deal with it, but I've watched it. And then another nightmare, and I always said my pain self-chosen with this, okay? But up front, there were so many films I was involved with where there would be 3 or 4 production companies that had a stake in it. and they can never figure out a final cut. They would have a divorce and the movie would never come out. So that's why Average Superstar Films by Film Company, solo right here. That's it. There's only one person, sales or sinks through me. I refuse to take any, no. Or they'd have to sign paper where I'm calling it. I'd rather take the bills and the burden on than to ever delegate to like take some stress off of money where someone else has say. No, not happening.
Yeah, we here on this podcast, we've heard some, some horror stories, and especially through, the distribution aspect of it. Just a lot of people getting it handed to them who don't understand or was just straight, shit on by the distribution company. Now you distribute, as you mentioned, I did drop the link in there. It's still visible on my screen. The Dark Military Rogue. I put the YouTube link up. Do you rely a lot on platforms like YouTube? Do you do hard copies? How do you deal with that whole, distribution aspect of it?
Rogue was strictly made basically for the fans and advertising, like on YouTube. Like anyone could watch this. We all know no one wants to pay $3.99 anymore. You see that the most odds are, unless it's your friend, you're going to wait for some streaming link to watch it for free. So when it comes to the first Dark Military, the 2019 one, that's like free on Tubi, Sumo, and Movieplex. But if you want to say where the profit came from, the little that I had, and then, by the way, I took everything that I made and just dumped it into more marketing, like magazines and, Facebook ads and all that. Like, I was crazy with that. But the money of the Dark Military came from the T-shirts. The money from the Dark Military came from the merchandise, and the physical Blu-rays and anything else that I created. Your IP, and you need to have something like that, folks. You have a character that you could sell on. Like, I have the logo. That's my Nike. That's my Nike swoosh. It's pathetic compared to what Nike makes, but you know what I'm saying? It's like all right, I'll go back to that. Boom.
There you go.
Yeah, but here, it's like boom, but you need to have something that people are gonna want. You're not gonna make money through the distributor. It's almost 9 out of 10 times you're going to get boned over. And that's why, like, I went through, Film Hub is what hosts me. I put them up because I did get burned through distributor, and there's a whole short film I made about it on my Average Superstar TV page. If you look under short films, but I told the whole story on that. But like me, Billy Pond from Circus of the Dead, and a whole bunch of we all got torched. They took the money, filed bankruptcy, and those 4 guys are doing pretty good, and we didn't get any dime. So my first quarter money, the first quarter's big for everyone, even the A-list movies, opening weekends, like the most money. That first quarter money I never saw. So, and I'm going around to Days of the Dead, Monster Mania, and all these conventions and getting tables, and you're vending the shirts and you're selling the movies and all that, and you're doing good. But you're also got to pay for the hotels. You got to pay for the table. You got to pay to eat. And before you know it, you come back, you're like, all that for this, huh? And you're just kind of like, so it's a tough road, guys. Like, I highly recommend like a 50, 60K movie. Like somehow come up with that, because that's a lot of money, folks. It is, but it's also not a lot of money. But like, you got to try to build it around that. There's all these people like, I need $250,000. I need, well, what? And then what do you do for like an Indiegogo? What? T-shirt, DVD. How about a thank you? Like, well, I sure hope you're going to thank somebody that's giving you money. Like, I always kind of come up with like, when I watch all these perks, I'm like, set perks maybe, but like, I also feel weird ever asking people for money. I just have it's the Italian in me. I just don't know how to ask for stuff. But you gotta come up with the best way you could get your money. And maybe you're going to do it. Maybe it's a relative. Maybe you're going to take loans out,
Yeah.
Figure out the best way. But the biggest thing too is, I always said, you could get a lot of locations for free by lot of starstruck people that here move. They just got to understand. Here comes the second shoe drops out of that though. They're like, I want to shoot a movie here at your pizza joint. Cool. What do you need, like 3 hours? Be like, let's talk a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, and another thing, going back to Rogue, we were on private land, and the same thing with the first Dark Military. We were on private land where we could scream, kill. If I needed someone to run naked, it wouldn't matter. Where a lot of people try shooting in their backyards where their houses aren't too far away, and then they got lights up going into the kid's window, and they call the cops on them. Like, you got to really think about your location and that you can't have any disruption. You want to have it down to, you pray to the God the day you shoot, you don't get rain. That's your final panic.
Yeah, I've heard. I talked to I believe it was Dave Kerr, director of Slasher Nurse, and I talked to him, and he said that the weather while filming was one of his biggest hurdles. It just never seemed to cooperate with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could tell you one other thing. The first Dark Military 2019, I had one of 2 weeks I was going to pick. And the week I picked is where we shot. And it was beautiful, clear skies, warm, all that. If I chose the following weekend, it rained hard for 4 straight days. I would have been washed out. I would have been washed right out.
Wow. Yeah. I guess you're just at the mercy of Mother Nature when that happens. Loren, any last, little pieces of advice as we get ready to wind down? Any last pieces of advice? Because you covered so much. You gave so much good advice when it comes to young filmmakers, actors, diving in. Just what is there? Any other piece of advice that you could give to anybody? Because there are a lot of young filmmakers that pop in to check out the podcast. Last little words of wisdom from Barabbas.
God, I wish I got to this topic early because it's a dark one.
Oh.
Right, ready for this, folks? All right. There's no friends in film. I'm sorry, guys. There's not. People will walk over your dead body to get your network. I've seen it over and over. Starting with mine, where it's just when I filmed the first Dark Military, those actors were at my location without talking to me the following week, like the next week or a week and a half, right after that rainstorm. And like, I'm checking the Facebook. I'm like, is that like, they didn't even like check with me. Like, you think it'd be kind of cool. And like, it was everybody who I was trying to distance myself from are now on my locations and stuff. It could drive you crazy. I've had so many people say like, you just got interviewed by that person. Can I have their contacts? Thanks. Or I've had people actually write me and say, I saw your budget for your film. Could I have all your producers' contacts and where you got your money and locations? Thanks. Dude, people come for you for your stuff. So it's like, I'm very wary about like dropping info to certain, like, it's kind of like, I didn't even tell anyone I was shooting Rogue till we were on set because I didn't want to even announce the cast where people might start reaching out and poking like, don't work with him. Don't work with him. Maybe it's more of an East Coast thing because we're horrible up here to each other, but I've just seen never be stunned. I mean, I've had people say like, I want to be in the Dark Military too. I'm like, cool. What'd you think of the first one? I didn't see the first one. Like, what are you doing here? Like, what if the movie's horrible? You don't want to be in it. Like, you just showed they're all about themselves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. And you take time out to watch a film. My
goodness. I've seen this horrible behavior. I've seen like everyone trying to sleep with everybody. I've seen people drinking on set and like, what are you drinking for? I have people come like, yo, dude, I'm drunk. I'm like, your scene's with me. The director put trust in us, and you think this is funny, and then they get, oh shit, you're not gonna say nothing, are you? I'm like, freaking do the scene, but like, you're off my list. I'll never work with you again, sort of thing. So, guys, there's a lot of if you're kind of disconnected when that situation like happens, you're not freaking you're bulletproof. It's not gonna bother you, but if you're trying to look at like the filmmakers are, and the actors are going to be like your core friends, you're in for a long ride.
Yeah. I've seen that on small levels, my personal life, with real people and on the internet, on social media, you see a lot of back and forth, bad mouthing this person, bad mouthing that person. And it's all middle school BS that I distance myself from and just keep my eye on the prize, like you have through all your career, Loren. We look forward to. I'm going to go watch. As a matter of fact, it was Rogue that I started watching before I watched Dark Military. So I kind of went backwards. I didn't even realize that was like a
Mission 1.5. Yeah.
Mission 1.5. I didn't even realize that. So
right, it says up front, when it pops in, it says Rogue, but Mission 1. I'm kind of announcing like, oh, it's a side story. Like, all right. So
if anybody hasn't seen that, you could scroll up probably in the links there. I don't know. I can see if I still. Bam, there it is. It's still on my clipboard.
Right there, folks. It's 23 minutes and it was shot in 6K. And it's a tight film. I'm very proud of it. So if you're looking for new characters in horror, I think I got a few for you.
There you go. Thank you so much, Loren, for your time, man, for sharing a little bit of time, some stories, some good advice. All in all, I thought it went very well. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you,
brother.
Thank you, Loren. Great to see
Great
you.
having you on.
Amy. I'll keep doing what you're doing. I think what you guys are doing here is great. Really, you guys are on your way.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you. And if you don't have to hop off right this second, we love to say bye to you when the show is done and over. So we'll pop we'll pop you back there in the little green room or whatever the hell they call it. We'll talk to you here in just a second. Great show. Great show. I thought it was really good. We didn't have to do a lot of talking. Guests like Loren are like a host's dream. You throw out a few bullet point questions and just off to the races. Let them go.
Sit back.
This show is about. This show is about the artists and
absolutely
giving them a platform to come on and talk about their work and promote what they're doing. And Loren did just that. So worked out great.
Totally. And give some feedback to up and coming filmmakers and writers and actors and stuff like that. We try to talk to each guest and get them to leave some valuable information out there. And he did just that.
They don't want to hear us. They want to hear about the guests.
No, exactly. They can hear about us all the time. We're little social media rats. We're all over the place. You talk to us all the time. Real quick before we get out of here, don't forget, if you have a short film, a feature that you'd like to get submitted in the first ever Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival that's going to be premiering at MegaCon in Orlando, February 2nd through the 4th. That's the website you need to go to. Early bird submissions is coming to an end here in just a couple weeks, so you want to get those in. You're not going to want to miss this, even if you don't have a film that you want to get out there. You're not a filmmaker, but you just have you're a junkie. I'll just put it that way. You're a junkie. This is where you want to be. Come out and join us if you're in the area. And if you're not, hey, there's no excuse. I'm going out there from the Midwest. I'm coming down to visit everyone. So, and there's another plus, you get to hang out with all of us junkies and get some cool swag, some t-shirts, some buttons. Okay. It's going to be a great time. And then again, real quick, the Indie Horror Junkie magazine issue 7 will be out January 13th. Issue 6 is live now. You can get that at indiehorrorjunkie.com. Whew, I think I got it all.
I think so. You got it covered. Great job.
So. And I want to thank everyone real quick in the chats or in the chat. We had some people coming in a little late, but this is all. Hey, if you missed it, don't worry about it. Head on over to our YouTube channel. You gotta subscribe first. If you don't, we'll find out who you are.
That's right.
We'll be knocking on the door. So give us a sub, and hey, you can just check out all of our past episodes. A lot of great guests we've had so far. Episode 13 in the books. Again, want to real quick apologize. Last week we were supposed to have Michael Joy on, and just had a little bit of technical issues, but we have him rescheduled for December, the end of December. So if you were looking forward to some marketing talk, you'll have to wait just a little bit longer. So I think it's time for us to get out of here. It was always a pleasure, Roddy, Ricky D, Asylum, Amy. Always fun, always a good chat. Any parting words from either of you two clowns?
I'll let clown number one go.
Same time next week. We've got more guests, 8 o'clock every Wednesday. Meet us here.
That's right.
Yeah, because we have Molly Zombie.
That's right.
Going to be joining us. So if you like puppeteers, I've been looking forward to this one too.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Animatronics.
Oh yeah, if you like animatronics and puppets and just all kinds of good, wholesome horror fun. Yes, me as well, sir. You're not going to want to miss Molly Zombie joining us next week. So, hey, as they say in the biz, see you next Wednesday.
Yeah.